you've never been without stories. Like, you are maybe one of the most interesting people I think I've ever met, even to this day. And I don't even know really where to start, but I would love to hear, especially since you're here. You've told the story. It's been a long time, and it's a deep one. But what brought you here? I remember your dad playing a huge part in that, and I'd love for them, if you're okay with it, to tell a little bit of that story and how that happened and what brought you to this town, which was right on the heels of us all meeting. Right after that, because I know you're born in New Orleans, but you were in Houston, right, for a long time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What brought you to LA before the chaos started of meeting us? This guy specifically.
Wow.
What brought you here?
Tragedy, and blessings, undying belief, ancestral. Yeah, just long story long. I never resonated with school growing up, but I've been dancing from when I was very, very young, and so I love the arts, but never cared for school. Got into a university, graduated with God's grace, and I just did choreography for talent shows at this university. And the school calls me. They're like, "Mr. Deka, you're supposed to graduate next year, but you have no major." And I'm like, "I'm having a great time." I'm like, "Is that fine?" They're like, "No, idiot. Like, you have to graduate." So anyways, I had to pick a degree that already had some prereqs. So I thought, how hard can a computer science degree be? Like, I just want to graduate. Like,
such an Indian thing to say.
Very hard. And I've never been interested in anything in school. Nothing, math, science, nothing. And I've never applied myself because I've had no interest. So I struggled like a madman. But I had these prereqs, and I had to graduate. Getting this call from the school, from Baylor. And so I go home and I'm like, "Mom and Dad, what do I do?" And they're like, "Well, this new computer science program has prereqs, so you can graduate." And they said graduating is not negotiable. They're like, if you want to sing, you want to dance, you want to act, you want to travel the world, you're going to do it.
You must.
But you will not. The degree is not a negotiation, because they wanted to make sure that, hey, you're not going to go through what we went through coming to this country.
Yeah.
So anyways, through a lot of prayer and whatnot, I graduated when there was a professor who was trying to hold me back.
And this is in Houston?
Actually at Baylor University in Texas.
Oh, okay,
in Waco.
Okay.
Professor was trying to hold me back. I told my parents, I'm not graduating. I'm having a hard time. I had to repeat this operating systems course. I'm really, really struggling. And my parents are like, "You're human. Do the best you can. We'll be proud of you. If you got to take it again, if you got to do something else, we'll figure it out." You can only have one D in the curriculum. And I worked my fucking ass off taking it for the second time.
You get that D, right?
So I basically came home and I told my roommate, "I'm not graduating." And Chintan's like, "What the fuck is that, man?" He goes, "Go talk to the dean, And I said, "Hey, I have 148 credit hours. I got a job offer from NASA, from the space program. Like, I've paid my dues. I've struggled like a motherfucker, but I'm done. Like, I'm ready to go out there." And he's like, "You know what? Like, let's talk to the chair." They said, "Hey, you are lacking a course because you got this D in a BA. I'm going to have you write something up to replace it so you can get a BS degree and be marketable," which is so cool of them. Anyways, they say, "Hey, congratulations. Go make us proud." I told my dad. He cried on the phone. My graduation was a miracle. I somehow turned down a job at the space program because I had one more talent show to do the choreography for, and I couldn't let my friends down.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what a high these performances were. It changed lives, and it's what we live for. If anyone says, "What did you go to school for?" I said, "Performing."
So you told NASA to fuck off.
Well, I said, "Mom and Dad, I have another semester of this talent show, and people are relying on me, and I've got like 30 people, and we're all in it." And my dad's like, "NASA won't wait for you, right?" And I'm like, I look at Mom, and she was like, "Go dance, go. You have your whole life to work." I'm like, "That's what I'm gonna do." So I go to I do the culture show, have a whole semester at school with my best friends in the world, and then I go to India for the summer, and then I get a voicemail from the space program, and I started working in September. So, anyways,
the voicemail, it's like, "We want you."
They still wanted you.
Yeah, and it was a different group. It was Flight Operations with United Space Alliance. And I got 3 interviews with this guy named Matt Berry, who at the time was highly respected all over the country. He was our president's personal science advisor, had 7 degrees, 2 PhDs. Everybody was intimidated by him. I didn't know who he was. So I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Oh, I know what you did. I know how you got the job. You danced naked.
That would have.
And he was like,
That was plan B. That was plan B.
Yeah.
So I worked there for a while. Tragedy struck. Mom passed away. I had a hard time functioning, surviving, and then I find theater. And my in Houston, one of my best friends I've known from daycare, his little brother said, Raj, you've always talked about taking an acting class. Never had the balls to do it. There's a small community theater having open call auditions on Thursday. You're going whether you like it or not. So I'm like, fuck, man, like I'm terrified. So I go for the audition for a play called The Gazebo, set in the 70s.
Gazebo!
Yeah, and I got a part that put me on stage for 30 seconds. And it changed my life because on opening night, this lady and her brother come up to me and she was like, I want you to know you changed my brother's life. I said, I don't get it. And she was like, you were his favorite character in the whole show. And I had 30 seconds at the end. And she was like, now he's thinking about what he wants to do. And she gave me a hug and she didn't let go. So I went home driving thinking like, fuck, man, if I can make somebody feel something in 30 seconds, what can I do on screen? So in Houston, I'm taking acting classes. I'm doing independent films, applying for jobs in LA to get closer to TV and film. Any interviews at all? Fuck no. Like nothing, no hits. Then a DC recruitment firm reaches out like a month later, 2 months later. They're like, we got your resume. Would you be interested in a job in intelligence, like State Department, Department of Defense?
Is this where the 3-letter agency comes in? I was going to ask about that.
And I'm like, well, that's clearly spam or a joke. So I deleted it. And then so 3 months later, I'm driving home from work, like
ironic, spam, you know.
Yeah. Speaking of,
which we could say it, right? Because you've told me that you're cleared. CIA.
I'm cleared, yeah.